The word alone can be challenging. How do we get started? Where will the change lead? Don't sit there and worry about it. Be the change. Welcome to Be the Change Radio. Host Christina Bloom has been a professional psychic and spiritual advisor for 20 years, offering psychic and mediumship readings for individuals and groups. She also teaches several classes in psychic development and metaphysics. In addition, she is an author who has published 2 books so far and is the co-owner of Moonbow Publications and Productions, LLC. Are you ready for that change now? Here is your host of Be the Change Radio, Christina Bloom.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here on Be the Change Radio. I'm Christina Bloom, and I'm your host. You are listening to us live or on replay at WLTK-DB.com, Paranormal Talk Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. And hey, if you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell so that you get notified when WLTK-DB has this or other great shows on. There's a lot of other shows on this station that are just amazing, and I think you're going to love them. Real quickly, we are on our last day of February already. I can't even believe how fast time is going. It's crazy. But that brings me around to St. Patty's Day is coming up in a couple of weeks, like 2.5 weeks. And I'm going to do something fun for St. Patty's Day. I'm going to do an online class. It's actually a shamanic journey to magical creatures. And what that means is I'm going to guide you into a journey where you will get to experience what it's like to be a magical creature. You would feel what a fairy feels like, or what a dragon feels like, or what a gnome feels like, or any number of other magical creatures. It's just going to be so much fun. And I hope that you'll join us. You'll be able to find that information on my meetup page. That's meetup.com/onespiritconnection/events/calendar. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope that you'll join me for that. This week, Brian Coppock is joining us again. We're going to have him back, and we're going to go deeper into the topic of food deserts, where healthy, nurturing food might not be available to people. And that is usually in inner city type areas. Sometimes it's more in more rural areas where there isn't access to a large variety of food. And we're going to talk about that and some of the ways that if you happen to live in one of those environments where you might be able to help yourself eat more healthy. We're also going to be talking about, drum roll please, Brian and I are doing a retreat together in April, and we're going to give you more information on that retreat. And I am so excited. This is the first time we'll be doing a retreat together, and it's going to be, the name of it is Deeper Awakening to Eliminate Your Limits. And it's taking the work that I do and the work that he does and combining them together to really help you transform your life on all levels. I'm really, really excited about this one because I've never done it with anyone else. We have a few bonuses we're throwing in, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's also going to be very enlightening and some work as well. So we have that going on. And I also want to address just one more thing. I don't know if the rest of you notices, the energy lately is nuts. It's just the energy out there in the universe. It's crazy. I've been watching myself and others go through this just up and down and up and down and up and down. And one day everything is like great and wide open and flowing. And the next day it's like, can't move. It's just crazy. Is anyone else experiencing that? If you happen to be listening, just go ahead and put it in the comments, because I'd like to get some feedback on that. I know I'm not the only one, but wow, it has been crazy. I don't know if it's a Schumann resonance or sun flares. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but the energy has just been crazy. So yeah, again, if you'd like to contribute to that conversation, please do. I'd love to hear it. I do know, let's talk about how we can help ourselves just kind of get through when the energies are shifting. And I know there's a lot going on worldwide with the invasion of the Ukraine and just a whole bunch of other crazy stuff that's going on in the world right now. And it just feels like to me like there's a test, I guess. We have been talking for years now. I mean, we, meaning like the metaphysical community, has been talking for years about all the changes we're going through, and all of the shifting that's happening and moving from the third to the fifth dimension, and really bringing the spiritual down onto the earth and melding those together and making things work together, and instead of having our spiritual life separate from our daily life, and how love is such a powerful force in the universe. And it's almost like we're getting a chance to step up to the plate and say, we don't have to destroy our world to make this stop. We can do this with love. We can do this with energy. We can do this at an energetic level. And I don't know a lot about what's going on out there. I haven't kept up on the news today. I've had a crazy busy day with family, but I feel like it's working. And I know, again, if someone wants to put some notes in the chat and contribute to that conversation as well, that would be great. I just feel like with all the shifting that's going on right now, with the energies, in addition to what's going on in the world and crazy weather patterns and whatnot, energy is off the charts right now. And so if you're feeling out of sorts, if you're just feeling like, I'm exhausted and I can't do it anymore, or if you're feeling like, I got this, this is awesome, I'm empowered, let's go, let's change the world. We're all kind of reacting differently. And I hope that however you're reacting, if you're struggling, that you're getting some support and it to help you move through the struggling. All right. You know what else we struggle with? Health. There's a lot of people out there struggling with health, struggling with food choices, struggling with eating healthy. And for a lot of people, it's just that they're choosing not to eat healthy. And for a lot of other people, it's that healthy food isn't available. So let's bring someone on who knows all about this. And we're going to bring Brian up, and we're going to start out talking about food deserts. Hey, Brian, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it. Yeah, we kind of touched on this a little bit when I was on, I don't know, a month or so ago.
Oh, I think it was longer ago.
Longer than that, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, we could talk about this for a long time.
Yeah. So let's start out with, just tell us, what is a food desert?
Well, a food desert, I actually looked up the true definition of it, just so we're talking about the right things here. And so according to the USDA, also HHS and a few other government agencies that all kind of work in combination with this, they talk about census tracts, and they qualify as a food desert if they meet low income and low access thresholds. So low income, there's a poverty rate of 20% or greater, or the median family income is at or below 80% of the statewide or citywide median family income. And then also low access, at least 500 people or 33% of the population lives more than 1 mile from a supermarket or a large grocery store, or 10 miles away from a supermarket or large grocery store if we're talking about a rural area.
Okay.
And it's been found that about 23.5 million people in America live in a food desert.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of people.
It is an awful lot of people. And one of the ones that comes up quite often, I know there's a YouTube video on it, is the city of Memphis, Tennessee. That a big part of that city is a food desert. Like, you can go for miles on one of the main drags and not see a supermarket.
Wow.
That all it is fast food, and bodegas, or as we call them in Wisconsin, quick trips, convenience stores, or the little corner mart mart type of thing. That none of them have any really, they don't have an extensive produce section,
Right.
And even I remember seeing one documentary where they're going through a large city, may have been Memphis, may have been another one, and they were stopping at every fast food place because it was just, one after another of fast food places, and asking if they even had a salad on the menu. And I think there was one out of maybe 20 that did.
That's insane. Wow.
Yeah. So folks just do not have access to vegetables and fruit. If the only food that you have access to, quickly and easily and cheaply too, is, chips, highly processed frozen stuff, or fast food, you're not going to be very healthy.
Right. So go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and then also, to compound the issue too, you've got, well, there's a number of things, and a lot of this is very, very systemic, but you've got things like a lot of those areas are also severely underserved as far as medical attention is concerned as well. Like the only sort of medical, there's not a clinic down the street. There's not a doctor's office, a mile away. The only place that serves it medically is the hospital in the emergency room.
Right.
And so it's like the only place that they can go to, if something's going wrong. And so you have to wait until you're in that emergency situation,
right,
to get anything taken care of. You got to wait until you're passed out in a diabetic coma, until you even discover that you have diabetes in some cases.
Right. Wow.
So, and it's just one thing piled on to another. It's, really eye-opening documentary, I think, is They're Trying to Kill Us.
And where would we find that?
I believe it's like I want to say it's like They're Trying to Kill Us film.com or something like that. If we just look up They're Trying to Kill Us film, they'll have links to where you can go and order it. I ordered it right away when it came out, and very eye-opening. A lot of hip hop artists involved in it. Billie Eilish was another person. Chris Paul, Billie Eilish and Chris Paul were actually executive producers on the film.
Okay.
And actually Billie Eilish and her mom do a ton of work with their charity in getting good, nutritious, actually vegan meals to people in these areas.
Right.
And helping out with that as much as they can. Like when the pandemic hit and we're hitting some of their favorite, vegan restaurants, like, wait, how can we help people who need good food and help these restaurants at the same time? And so they started this charity where basically they buy the meals from the vegan restaurants, and then they turn around and take them to the food deserts in the major cities. They're based mostly in LA, but I know that they've got these branches all over the United States right now too. And then give the meals to people who can really use them. And I know they did that too with people on the front lines, when COVID first hit, the hospital workers and all that sort of stuff. And the hospital workers, the emergency room people were so thankful to get the vegan food, because they'd been sick of, other folks, other restaurants and stuff had been donating it to them as well. But they're like, man, we're just so sick of pizzas.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got some vegetables there? Yes, please let me eat them.
Yeah. I wonder too if one of the things that contributes to this is that if someone who lives in a food desert does get a ride to go to a supermarket outside of their neighborhood, and they don't get the chance to do that very often, are they going to stock up on fresh vegetables that are going to rot before they get a chance to eat them?
Right. Probably
You
not
know?
the fresh, but at least maybe they could get the frozen,
Right.
you know.
For some
And
reason, people don't think that frozen is healthy. And I from everything I've read, it is.
it absolutely is. It has just as much nutrients as, and in fact, sometimes even more nutritious than fresh.
Right.
Because the frozen stuff is picked at the peak of ripeness because they know they're going to go and freeze it right away.
Right.
So they let that, so that they let it ripen on the vine more, I guess you could say, you know, let it ripen a little bit more in the field, then pick it, then freeze it right away. And so sometimes, you know, but the stuff that's going to be fresh in your produce section, they have to pick that way, way, way before it's ripe. And you know, so that's why you know, go in the grocery store and it's just a sea of green bananas.
Right.
You know, and you gotta wait a week. Well, now there are plenty of health benefits to green bananas, actually.
Yeah, I suppose if your stomach can handle a green banana.
Yeah, that's the tricky part is it is a little tougher. You know, on the stomach. I know my stomach is kind of gets a little when it's a little too green yet, but actually there's more resistant starch in a green banana than in a yellow banana, and it holds on to the sugars longer, and it actually becomes an appetite suppressant because it doesn't let go of the sugars until into the large intestine. So you can, so when you eat green bananas, it actually can help you not have as much of an appetite actually the next day.
Interesting.
Little interesting fact about green bananas there for you. To go off on a tangent.
Just don't eat them too green because your stomach will not be happy.
Right. Yes. You kind of got to work up to the green bananas.
Yeah.
You gotta go a little bit green and then a little greener and then, you know, work your way on it a little bit.
Right. So let's real quick just talk about, like, if someone is in that position where, okay, they got a ride to a grocery store outside their neighborhood, and let's talk about the foods that, even if they buy them fresh, will last longer. I know, like, squash will last a long time. It's in its whole, you know, natural container. Potatoes seem to last a long time. Sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
You know, apples, depending on where they are in their ripening stage.
That would be a good time to get green bananas.
Yes, get the green bananas,
you know,
carrots, you know, basically any of the things that are grown in the ground.
Yeah, root vegetables.
Vegetables seem to last longer. And I'm sorry, I saw that there was a question that popped up, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I didn't. Oh, there it is.
How about carbs related to green ones?
Oh, I think he's talking about bananas.
Oh, okay.
How about carbs related to it?
Because bananas are high in carbohydrates.
They are, you know, and a lot of people, but they also have a pretty good amount of fiber to them as well. So, you know, that can really, you know, I know a lot of people, a lot of the keto crowd likes to talk about how, you know, bananas have too much sugar, you know.
What about for diabetics?
Now diabetics do need to kind of watch it a little bit with a banana, you know.
So are green bananas better for diabetics, or?
They should be, yes.
Okay.
That you're not going to get as much of because of that resistant starch, you're not going to get as quick of an insulin hit, or as big of a sugar hit, I guess you could say, with a green banana as opposed to a yellow banana. You know, the sugars are a little more readily available and quicker absorbing with a yellow banana, and even more, that's one that's even getting a little brownish, you know. Basically, the riper it is, the quicker you have access to the sugar, and the less fiber that's there. So it's that resistant starch fiber that really kind of hangs on to the sugars as it goes through the digestive process, and then and actually, like I said, helps suppress appetite because it gets basically into the large intestine without releasing the sugars yet. or until it releases its sugars. So,
okay.
So there you go. Much more detailed than maybe we need.
We all know a lot about green bananas now.
But back to food deserts.
Yes, back to food deserts.
You know, and yeah, what should somebody stock up on? You know, absolutely, you know, that sort of stuff. Even things like, you know, depending on, you know, things like beets, fresh beets.
Okay.
You know, more of a root thing. And the nice thing about beets is you can actually eat the greens too. So you want to pick some with some nice greens on it. They're really good in salads. Really good in anything that you would put like a cooked spinach type of a thing. You can put beet greens into, and really, really good for you. Some of the greens, okra would be another one that would kind of last a little bit longer, you know, as far as fresh stuff. But then really anything frozen, you know, is really going to last you just so much longer than the fresh vegetables. You know, if you were somebody who, yeah, maybe once a month or once every 6 weeks or so, you were able to get a ride to a grocery store and get some really good food.
Okay, well, we seem to be having some technical issues here. You're cutting in and out. So
really?
we're going to take a commercial break and
Looking to launch your new masterpiece? Then try something new with Moonbow Publishing and Production. At Moonbow, we have a strong desire to serve authors in a powerful and meaningful way. After all, you poured your heart and soul into your writing, and we fully understand and respect that. Remember this: you will own the copyright to your work. You will have the final say on your work before being published. Even after all of that, we've saved the best for last. We won't take a percentage sold. Nope, not a penny. Excited about MoonbowPublications.com yet? We thought so. Take advantage of our company's services like book editing, formatting, and covers, publishing, and photography. Moonbow Publishing and Productions has everything you are looking for in a company. Remember, we will not keep any commissions. We are a boutique publishing company focusing on spiritual, health and wellness, and personal growth genres. Moonbow Publications and Productions, a new kind of publishing company.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It is 24 minutes past the hour. I am here with Brian Coppock, and we are talking about food deserts, nutrition, the best way to shop for vegetables if you happen to be in a place where you don't often get access to them. And so we've talked a lot about that. You know, root vegetables seem to be the biggest, the most, what is the word I'm looking for here?
They're going to last longer. They're going to stay fresh longer. You know, you can always, even on a potato, you know, if you get it sprouting a little bit, you can always cut that part off and eat the rest of the potato. You know?
Right. Or you could plant it and grow your own potatoes.
You could also do that, you know, and that's another cure for these food deserts. I know that they've been working on this in Detroit quite a bit. And in fact, there was a game. I want to say it was maybe I think it was when the Packers were playing the Lions, or no, it was Thanksgiving Day game. That's what it was.
Okay. That
they were playing, and they showed this woman who's doing just amazing work in, you know, inner city Detroit, and creating gardens out of like the vacant lots, and then providing the food for everybody there. Well, it's Detroit, so I mean that works great in the summer.
Yeah.
and the fall, but
Not so well in the winter.
not so well in the wintertime.
Right.
So one of the charity projects for the Detroit Lions, which former Packer running back Jamal Williams was a part of presenting her, they made her this, it's almost like a Ford Field replica, a greenhouse in one of the spots in one of her gardens. And so they'll be able to grow vegetables year round then.
What a cool idea.
Which is very, very cool. And then help provide more food, good, nutritious food for people in those areas. And that's one of the things, reclaiming even the smallest areas, the little, I call it the boulevard. I don't know. The little space between the sidewalk and the curb.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
That little patch of dirt. Growing vegetables in that patch of dirt. Front yards, even. A lot of homes, are so tightly packed together, and in a lot of these, more urban areas, that there isn't a whole lot of space, and so you just basically And a lot of the homes don't have much yard either. Mine doesn't, so it's like, all right, let's, use it and grow vegetables. And people are starting to do that now in some more urban areas, and just, like using any area that they can find to plant things for, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit for people to eat.
So let's talk about indoor gardens then, because we have people living in apartments. I live in a condo complex. All of my outside space is shared, and it's all lawn. So it's not I have the opportunity to claim, 2 by 3 foot patch and dig it up and plant vegetables.
Oh yeah. I lived in Minneapolis in a huge high-rise apartment building like that too,
So you don't have outdoor space with earth. So what you have to do is create space. Like we don't even have an outdoor patio, right? It's just, it's a security building. So we don't have access to the outside from our apartment. So when people live in the situation inside, right? Like we would for flowers, instead of raising flowers, we would be raising food. So there we go with that, where we can just, where maybe people haven't thought to do that. Maybe people haven't thought, what, I don't need to grow this flower. I can take the flower out and I can grow potatoes, or I can grow carrots, or I can grow broccoli, or whatever it is. You can grow those in a flower pot, basically.
Sprouts. Sprouts is another great thing to grow. Super easy. You just need a jar with a lid with a, with some holes in it, essentially, with like a mesh on it. Or I've even got sprouting bags. They're like a burlap bag.
Oh, okay.
You put the sprout seeds in and get them wet and stuff. And in a week, you've got sprouts that you can eat, and then if you kind of keep rotating it, you can always have some fresh sprouts to eat, and you can get, more of a protein blend. You can get more of a salad type of a blend, and it's all just a matter of whatever, seeds you're sprouting.
Right. The other things that I've seen people do, and I have friends who've done this, is vertical indoor gardens.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like trays or pots, but they're all stacked up on a framework. And it works really well if you have the trays, because you can use that with hydroponics. So, where you're growing lettuce or whatever, it's usually leafy greens, but you're growing them in water rather than in soil. And do you feel like there's a difference nutritionally between growing in water and growing in soil?
There probably is, but it's one of those things with, I think you could probably even treat the water, add some of those nutrients into the water.
Some people have fish swimming in their water.
Oh, Okay. I don't know how that would affect things. I'm not sure.
Apparently, fish can create fertilizer.
Well, that's true. Yes, yes. So there's that. Yeah, maybe adding some nutrients in that way, actually. Um, it's one of the things with the soil and that's one of the things that they you do worry a little bit about with some of the urban gardening is, like right next to the street and all that sort of stuff, is that soil being, like contaminated with um
Fumes and
stuff from the
yeah.
exhaust and all that sort of stuff with whatever, the carbon monoxide and all that sort
Mhm.
of stuff. But the carbon going into the soil actually helps the plants. So it's actually not so
Yeah.
bad. And actually the plants help draw some more of that carbon into the soil rather than releasing it up into greenhouse gases. So, so it actually can be very beneficial, especially, someplace like LA, for example, that's so, the smog in LA is always, something that you hear about, see sometimes. I don't even know that we see it as much on TV.
Not as much as we did like in the 70s.
Right. Yeah. In the
Yeah.
70s, it was really bad, but it still happens. So
Yeah.
but yeah, those are some of the things that people can do to help that. Another thing that can really be helpful, legally speaking, is getting rid of, I believe it's called something rights of covenant, I want to say. I'm not sure that I'm totally saying that right, but what happens is when a grocery store signs a lease with the rental company, for the grocery store. Oftentimes just about every major grocery store does this, okay, all across the United States. So it's really very common practice that they have in the lease that the landlord cannot lease to another grocer for 20 years.
Wow.
After a grocery store leaves. And so, when you've got just one inner city grocery store, and if that grocer decides, we just can't make a go of it with this grocery store, it's just not it's just not profitable enough for us, we got to shut it down. Which, I understand that, it's a business, right?
Right.
But yeah, so when they do that, then for 20, you would think, okay, we'll just we'll get another grocery chain to come and fill that spot. It's already a grocery store, should be easy enough. And no, you can't do that for 20 years.
Wow. There's something that needs changing.
Yeah. And that's one of the things where, especially in these areas, and that's one of the reasons why these areas became the way that they are.
Yeah.
Is because the grocery stores, especially, some of the smaller, your Red Owls, your Super Values, some of those types of places that weren't really large grocery stores, but they still really served the community and provided some good food, and food accessibility to those places. And, and then you've got the big super mart, comes in just outside of town, and everything is way cheaper, and very few people are coming to the local neighborhood grocery store anymore because they're going out there. Then they just ended up shutting down.
Right.
I remember living in Minneapolis. They did a thing where the newspaper did a thing where they bought equal, pretty much the same groceries at different grocery stores, and the most expensive grocery store. And this is
people, we're having some net issues on my end, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Minneapolis, they did this thing where they bought the same amount of, like, 2 bags of groceries from all the different grocery stores, right? All the different chains. And you would think that, like, I don't know if you've been to Minneapolis, but there's like Byerly's and Lund's there. Super fancy grocery stores. They've got the lobster tank. They've got, saffron on the shelves all the time. Right. They've anything you could possibly think of, they've got it there, super fresh, right? Carpeted walkways, not
Sendex has carpeted walkways, and I'm just like, why would you carpet a grocery store? Ew. Sorry.
Well, it's far better than the tiles that are around here in some of the grocery stores. Gotta hate that. Anyway, you would think that those would be the most expensive ones. They weren't. It was actually the inner city grocery stores were the most expensive grocery stores.
Right. The ones with the least amount of product on the shelves and the.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I can see where that would be.
And in the areas where you have quite a few people that don't have a car to get there, that they have to walk to the grocery store or maybe take the bus, which is another thing. Bus riding, you can only have 2 bags of groceries on the bus with you.
Yeah, that makes it hard to do a week's worth of shopping.
Yeah. You have to shop day after day after day.
Awesome. All right, now we're going to shift gears, sort of. All right, okay. So let's talk about healthy food and the food that we are going to be serving at our retreat.
I just made my very veggie chili tonight.
Did you? Awesome.
Yes. My son went, He still loves bacon too, so I mean, and I do let him eat it. It's I'm not like, no, you can't have that. No, I mean, he can have that on occasion. They eat eat meat just fine, but I eat very, very, very much plant-based. And so one of the things I'll be making there is the very veggie chili. And it is so good.
Okay, so
now you're back.
All right. I'm sorry. I don't know why my internet is doing this. It just happens.
It's the same weird thing that's going on with everything, with the energy of everything that you were talking about earlier, right?
It sure is. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I really, we sat down and we wrote out a menu for our retreat. And if I try to get it out of the drawer next to me, I'm going to knock my camera over and it's not going to be good. But I mean, we're having fun with this, with the vegetarian menu that we're doing. And we've got like pancakes that we're doing vegetarian, not vegan, because we're using eggs. But
we're still using eggs, so it's not vegan,
right? And butter, because I'm not using fake butter.
Correct. I'm with you on that. Totally. That's like the one dairy thing that I will eat. Is real butter. Is like, no, don't give me, and don't get me started on the fake stuff.
Hello? Deeper awakening to eliminate your limits. 2 world-class coaches come together for a retreat in Wisconsin's beautiful North Woods. Meet Christina Bloom, Spiritual Advisor. Christina's extensive experience in helping her clients with spiritual growth and deep emotional healing comes together with Brian Coppock's proven 4-pillar system to eliminate your limits. With their combined expertise, Brian and Christina will guide you through a weekend journey to transform your life to achieve both physical and spiritual balance. Save the dates, April 21st through 24th. Held at Black's Cliff Resort in Hazelhurst, Wisconsin, a premier resort in Wisconsin's beautiful North Woods. For more information, email Christina at christinabloom.com. And there you have it. It's 40
Yeah.
minutes past the hour, and that was the commercial for our retreat. So I am really super excited about this retreat. First of all, for me, it's going home. I grew up there.
Okay.
I've got friends up there. I've got some
Mhm.
family up there, but I will be spending time with our retreat goers when we're there, and we have some really great stuff planned. So tell us about the 4 pillars. It was mentioned in the ad. So tell us about the
Yeah.
4 pillars.
So the 4 pillars are count your wins. It's a system for, like you said in the ad, they're eliminating your limits, for getting past those things that are blocking you and holding you back in life. And I typically use that in the context of weight loss. That when you get rid of these blocks, all of a sudden it's like, man, it's so much easier to just make the good choices.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you always make the right choices, but it is a lot easier to make the good choices for your health and for your body. So the 4 pillars are count your wins, and that's just writing down what what good things happened to you that day. It helps us. We're primarily wired towards the negative, and so this helps bring in the positive. We start looking for the positives much more. Then it's learn your language, learning that self-talk that we all have, right?
Mhm.
Of that a lot of times beats us up, right?
Yeah.
If somebody else came up to us and said what our self-talk said, we'd want to punch them in the throat, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It works on, and that's the probably one of the most important parts of it. Well, I think it's all important, but each of the 4 pillars has their own thing. But learn your language is the spot that a lot of self-help programs and a lot of the self-help gurus, they don't want to go there.
Yeah.
It's the deconstruction. Anytime you do a home improvement project, you really should do the deconstruction, the demolition, right? Before putting the new stuff up. Take it down, take the old stuff off and then put the new stuff up. My old house, they did plenty of just putting extra new stuff on top of other new stuff, and it doesn't work. Right? If you've ever seen that done in a house, it's just like, ugh, why did you what? So learn your language is that one. And then review your direction. Are you doing the things you're supposed to do to get to where you want to go? And then the last one is envision the outcome, or imagine the outcome, and really spending time in your imagination. Instead of spending time worrying about what could happen, why not imagine what you want?
Right.
And so those are the 4 pillars. And of course, we're going to go way, way more deep into these things and how you use them in a journal to really change things around, because I know it's done wonders for myself. It's done wonders for many of my clients. And it's one of those things that I would just love to just, okay, world, here, take this, go.
Yeah.
Because we could all seem to use it right now. So.
Right. Exactly. Every last one of us. I know. So for my part of it, what I'm adding to what Brian is doing, and we're going to be mixing it up, and kind of doing,
right. It's not like Christina's day and then my day. It's
right. We're going to be.
Yeah, we're going to tag off on this.
Yeah,
stuff.
Absolutely.
So you don't get sick of me, and you don't get
and you don't get sick of me, because either thing could happen, right? So for my part of it, I'm covering some. We're going to be talking about empathy and how to use it as a tool. We're going to do a soul retrieval, because for so many of us, we have missing pieces. We've left pieces of ourselves in old relationships, or in our childhood, or on the beach somewhere, because we didn't want to leave the beach. So we left part of ourselves there. we're going to do a soul retrieval to bring back all of those parts of ourselves so that we can feel more whole. And when we don't feel whole, that's when we start reaching to, or the poor food choices, or any number of things.
Numb.
Yeah, we want to numb it.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships, or whatever the case might be. So we want to bring back all of those pieces of you so that you can heal all of it together without things missing from you. We're going to talk about how to receive, because so many of us are givers, especially people who go to a retreat like this. It's because we spent a lifetime giving ourselves away and not holding on to those parts of ourselves that maybe we needed for our own nurturing. Instead, we give it away. So we're going to talk about how receiving, and how to receive in a, whether that's receiving, whatever it is that you need. And for some people, what they struggle with is even receiving money. Some people struggle with that, so we're going to be talking about what's healthy in a receiving type situation and how to receive in a good way. The back of my hand. So when I go there and I'm teaching, and it's all there and ready to go. I do think we're also going to touch on some past life stuff, because some of us may have left some of our, we might have created some poor habits in a past life, or something, that we want to maybe address in this life, particularly things that are, where we want to be able to address those things. And should we talk about our special guests?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Okay. So, Brian and I have a mutual friend who is this really amazing massage therapist, and she has a very unique way of doing massage. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that we'll have time for Brian and I to get treatments too. But if not, that's okay, because the guests come first, and that's all good. But she, Soul something massage, but it's spelled SOLE, because she has a framework that she climbs up on, and she massages with her feet.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know if you knew that. She massages.
I did not know that. No.
Yeah, it's really cool. She's got this whole setup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That way. And then we have a dear friend of mine who is a Jinshindo practitioner and teacher, and she is going to come in and do like mini Jinshindo, like half-hour sessions for our pressure. So I am really excited about having both of those ladies come in, and it's included in the cost of the retreat, right?
Oh, nice.
So it's it's a bonus that we're adding to the retreat.
Cool.
You don't have to pay extra to get a massage or acupressure.
Yes.
So
and the food's included to it as well,
and the lodging,
and so it's all just one price. Show up, and it's going to be an amazing weekend for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so excited about it. Plus, we are having it at so we'll have time to do that too. And my internet is really glitchy tonight, so I'm going to cut this short. I apologize, Brian, for cutting your show short.
Hey, I wanted to ask you one thing though, if I can. Yeah. Hopefully we can get through the technical things. The thing that you've got coming up where you can where you can be a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
What is that again?
That is a but you get to actually experience like what it feels like to be those magical creatures.
Oh, cool. Okay, because I want to be a dragon because that was my high school mascot.
Unfortunately, and I will see you all here again next week when I will be talking to Katie Kavanaugh. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.